I am hanging out with Kevin and Devona, and I'm so excited because I think they're adorable and their story is so awesome. So, how are you guys doing today?
We're
Doing
doing great.
awesome.
Thanks so much for having us, Amy.
Yeah. So, what's going on? It's your 4-year wedding anniversary, and they're celebrating with me. So, I'm
I
like part
know.
of their marriage. Isn't that awesome?
Basically,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, 4 years down. Super excited for this weekend coming up. We're just gonna have some fun in Los Angeles and have a good time. So great to kick that weekend off, I should say, with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's right. You got to send me pictures, and I'll just crop myself in there. I'll be like,
What's up?
Yes, you have to be part of the whole journey.
There
So
you
you're
go.
good.
so you guys have been married for 4 years. How long have you guys been together?
It'll be 10 years in
10
November this
years.
year.
High school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. I mean, that's awesome because, high school. So you guys are so young. That makes me feel old. Um,
You're not old.
I'm not, right? I'm not old. So, so 10 years. So have you guys always been through this entrepreneur journey, the 10 years, or when did that start? And I'll start with you, Kevin. When did entrepreneurship start?
I think entrepreneurship for me started about 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, I just started listening to a lot of podcasts and reading books, and I started wanting to learn more about wealth and financial freedom. And so a little bit about my backstory. I grew up in, white picket fence. I lived in a nice neighborhood, things like that. My dad worked his way up as the vice president of BB&T Bank, and my mom, she was like a clerk. And so I remember, Christmases and things like that from, I'd say, the age of 15 to the age of 18 or 19. All we really got, I had two other brothers. All we got for Christmas was like underwear and socks and a lot of boring stuff. We stopped getting like the games and just a lot of like fun things that kids can, be excited about. So I was like, okay, I want to be wealthy. I went to college, got good grades, went into corporate America, into the IT profession as an IT project manager. And I just realized early on that a lot of the people that I looked up to in corporate America, they were the men actually. They were, unhealthy. They were unsatisfied. None of them really had wedding bands. They were traveling to different
Hmm.
countries like every other week. And so it really was during that point in time that I was like, I have to figure out another way. And then I picked up the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then I was like, man, I'm not the only one feeling this way. Like there's another route I can make money doing my own thing. And then that's where, I started building out Strive and Grind.
Awesome. Awesome. So 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of came on. So Devona, what did you like? Where did you come into the snare? So 10 years, you were there from the beginning, before the business. So tell me how
Yes.
that worked out.
Yeah, so for me, I kind of feel like I've always had a little bit of the entrepreneurial spirit in me. Like when I was younger, I did the whole lemonade stand thing, and I was pretty bold and doing crazy things as a young kid. And my background is actually in graphic design, and I started my career young where I created my first web page when I was in the fourth grade, and it was like from that moment forward, I did everything that I could to self teach myself how to be the best graphic designer in the world. Like that was like my
Yeah.
goal. I wanted to like own my own studio or just be one of those really cool creatives that got to work on special projects. So I mean, throughout middle school, I kind of did freelance work, basically creating really cool MySpace layouts. I was doing web pages and web design. I was working for my school. I had an internship. I was like on the accelerated path to basically, making my career as a graphic designer the best that it could be.
Hmm.
Long story short, I went to college, I took a painting class, and it was there around that time I realized like I didn't really like graphic design as much as I thought I did, or at least the freelance side of it.
Hmm.
But I took a painting class and found this whole passion for it and decided to kind of make a 360 in my career or entrepreneurial freelancing thing going on and actually focused my career on painting as a fine artist. So I created my own online store selling paintings, merchandise, clothing, the whole nine. So I kind of think for me, my whole like entrepreneurial spirit has been there, and that's kind of rubbed off on Kevin as we've been together and grown together. And as a creative, you're always down to do projects with your friends and kind of work on things and see where they go. So with Kevin starting Strive and Grind, of course, I kind of had to be there by default as the graphic designer to help build it because it had to look cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of like where I came in, just kind of helping him on the side. It originally started out as his thing, and I was just helping him with ideas, teaching him like the marketing and design that I've learned from all my experience. And then long and behold, I just kind of came in full force, and now we're both just rocking it out together.
Yep.
Awesome. That's awesome. So tell me about Strive and Grind. What is that about?
So Strive and Grind is a branding and creative boutique. So we're all about creating memorable, disruptive, and badass brands. And so we're massively passionate about entrepreneurship. And the one thing that we really, really stand for is being creative, being different, being unique, innovation, like the whole nine, game changing. And so one thing that we realize is that a lot of entrepreneurs, when they start out, they only think about sales or how to make money, and they don't even have a longevity plan, or they're not even thinking far ahead long term.
And they think about putting brand on the back burner because they just think it's a website or a logo, and they're just like, oh, I don't need that right now, or I'll just create it myself.
And they're all like copying people. So what we want to do and what we truly believe in is that the moment you're able to stand out, the moment you're able to have people talking about you, and it's like that, like what is that thing that's like your real special sauce? And if we can expose that and bring that out so it can bleed through your brand, then that's going to help you stay around for the long term. So that's something that we're really passionate about. And I'd say over the past year or so, we've just been helping tons of entrepreneurs do just that with their brands.
Awesome. That is so cool.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff. So 4 years you've been doing this, 10 years together. So tell me, and I'll start with you, Kevin, or you guys, either one, it doesn't matter. What has been like a hiccup or struggle, or what have you guys kind of had to work through going through this journey together?
Well, I say my biggest challenge, even to this day, is the turning off the switch. So for me as an entrepreneur, I'm just constantly thinking of new ideas and trying to be creative. I'm always on my phone. I'm looking at social media. I'm seeing what people are up to. And even during those times where I'm supposed to be spending quality time with Devona, I'm not there emotionally. I'm elsewhere, right?
Right.
And so I think those are some of the things that I'm trying to focus on. Sometimes I realize that I'm just picking up my phone to go on Facebook to see what someone is talking about. And then I'm like, damn, I need to hurry up and put my phone down.
Right.
And I consciously am aware of that kind of stuff. So just having that turn off switch. For Devona, it's so easy. Like when we're done striving and grinding, she could turn off the switch, do her thing, like let's go, let's hang out or whatever. For me, we can be hanging out. I'm like, hey babe, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And she's like, Kevin, stop. No. No more. So
because like he's the one, I think for me that kind of is a good segue for me because he's very like he has to collaborate a lot and he has to express his ideas a lot, which is cool because I understand that as a creative. But for me, I like a balance. I'm able to turn my switch off and just kind of focus on the fun, focus on life and being present because the business is always going to be there. And I think for me, a struggle is because of that. It's kind of working on our, I guess, the communication on how we work together. So we work right next to each other. We don't have separate offices or a door. So I have this thing where I'm like shutting my door, like my imaginary door. And that means like, this is my time. Like I don't want to talk right now. Like I want to be in the zone. Like I need to be in silence or listening to my music. Like I don't want to hear all these thousands of ideas right now.
And I don't like when she does that, but it's okay. No, it is what it is.
Matt and I had the same office for a while because we thought, you know, we do everything together. We like travel together. We, you know, of course, live together. We work together. We shower together. I mean, everything's together. We're like, it's going to be great. And then we realized we were constantly saying, oh, babe, look, or what do you think about this? And it was like, there was, and I'm the worst. Like I would always be like, hey, you know what? And he would be like, and he's like, you're constantly pulling me away from my like train of thought. So I moved my office, but yeah, it has to work because I couldn't, even though we had so many talks about, okay, from now on, we are not going to do that. And I'm like, totally not. I'm totally not. And then like 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh, babe.
That's exactly how it is.
Yeah, it's because something pops in my head and I'm like, well, you know, so I completely get that, but
We'll
that's
even
good.
like we'll set up like meetings. I'm like, okay, babe, hold that thought, write it down.
And
Let's
that's
meet at
so
like
weird.
in the next 30 minutes so I can dedicate my attention and time for you. Because if you're telling me something and I want to do something else, my mind's going to be like half and half or more on the thing that I want to do.
That's so funny. You're so much like my husband. I'm so like much like you because I don't get it. Because even now, like I have to all day, I'll write down like the things that I'm thinking of, like make notes, and then when we have snack or lunch or whatever, then we'll sit down and I'll have to go through my list of stuff that I'm like, because I'll just be at my desk and I'm like, oh, and I don't have a babe to say, oh babe, so I'm just like, ah, oh. And now I
Yeah.
have Skype, so I'll like pop Skype up and I'm like typing to him. I'm like, like that's my new thing. But anyway, so you guys, I mean, it's good. I mean, communication, of course, it sounds cliche, but communication is so important
Yeah.
in any relationship, but especially like setting your intentions of what you, I mean, like you said, Devona, like you set your intentions as far as like, okay, I'm going to shut it down right now. I have to focus and just doing stuff like that. And a lot of people don't realize that it's so important to like set those expectations because, you know, people are like, well, he didn't understand and now he's mad at me. I'm like, well, did you tell him? And then they're like, no. And I'm like, well,
Not a
okay.
mind reader.
Yeah, he can't understand you and you can't your brain. So you guys, so is there anything like during, you know, the 4 years that you guys have been building this company, like you guys have always worked together during these 4 years on Strive and Grind, or has there been like separate projects? How does that work?
So we actually we started striving around about 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
it was March of 2013.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it was basically his idea, his project. I was just kind of the rock supporting him, making it, helping him come to life. And at the time, I was trying to focus on my art stuff, and that's like a lot of work in itself. Not only painting and honing in on my craft, but trying to push sales and doing all the merchandise and all that stuff. So for me at the time, it was a really hard battle to balance the two, like put my all into my own thing, but then he needs all my energy on his thing. And it was kind of like, I think almost a lack of communication or a lack of commitment where like he wanted me to be a whole 100% in what he was doing, but I still wanted to do my thing and I couldn't figure out how to balance the two. And it wasn't really till we moved here to California last March where my switch turned completely on to kind of go full throttle with Strive and Grind because, like you said, he was reading books, podcasts. We were inspired by a lot of online entrepreneurs into this whole life that you can create for yourself and you can make money online. You can do this and that. Like people are living the high life or whatever. And it's like, it's one thing when you see it online and you hear them in podcasts or you read their books, but like, coming here to San Diego, where it's a huge entrepreneur hub, and we got to actually go to an event where like some of these people we looked up to were at the event.
Yeah.
And like other people were doing the things that we wanted to do, and just hearing that and being surrounded by that energy and talking to these people and just seeing how real it could be. Like I think that just turned my switch on to be like, all right, like Strive and Grind, we're going to get to where we want to be as a couple, you know, a lot faster doing Strive and Grind than I would my art stuff. And my art stuff is something that will always be there and I can always push whenever. So I think since last year, we've both been on it, like fully committed 100% to Strive and Grind. And unfortunately, my art has been a little bit pushed back. But like I said, I can always bring that up front. And because we care more about our vision together, we can get there faster through Strive and Grind.
Yeah, and I also believe too, it was because that we both went all in on it together and we truly believe in it together. That was the reason why we got so much success with the branding and creative boutique to the point where we were able to go full time with it and leave our day jobs and all that kind of stuff. So I think that was huge, that switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what you guys have said is so profound, and I just want to highlight that for a minute because I talk about it all the time, and especially like because I'm on the entrepreneur's wife side, even though I'm an entrepreneur as well and I have my own thing, but I come from that side of the fence, and a lot of times wives don't understand, like, you need to go to events together. You need to be on, I mean, I just made a post about it yesterday. You have to be on board with the vision because once you get that ether, once it stops becoming his thing and becomes your thing together, you truly get on board with it and you see the big picture and it's the one shared vision and you know where you're going and you can really support them in a different way because it's one thing to be on the sidelines and say, you know, yeah, he's doing great. Everything's great. You know, he's being successful, you know, and not really having your hands in it. And I'm not saying not everybody can work together and not everybody wants to work together, but you need to understand the business. And so what you guys are doing is so perfect and so profound because you found that perfect balance between the work and relationship. And so I think that a lot of people, if they would just accept and learn those steps, it would make it a lot easier, because there's a disconnect sometimes when it's his thing or her thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think going to events with your partner, if like you're not submersed yet, is so huge, because it's just the energy, and like you get to be around the people that's like your significant other, and you get to understand why they're so crazy and, you know, their ideas, and you start to get excited and more inspired and motivated to kind of work on the project with them or just be more supportive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's like a huge thing.
And your pinpoint on vision is everything.
Yeah.
And so many people dive into relationships, they don't even have a vision for their relationship, let alone a vision for their business.
Right.
I truly believe 95% of entrepreneurs who dive into business don't even have a vision for where they want to be in 10 to 20 years.
Right.
They're just like, oh, I'm in it for the short term. I want to make money.
They're
And we'll
just
figure it out.
hustling. Right.
Right. So I think that vision is everything. When you have a clear, cohesive vision together, and for us, it's like we want to build an empire together.
Yeah.
Like, let's do this thing. You just go all in on it.
Yeah. You make a commitment to jump both feet.
Yes.
And so when both parties do that, even if the wife's commitment is to just sit in on the goal setting and know what the future, you know, where they're going for the future. And I mean, when we talk about events, I am such a strong believer in the couple going to events together, because I didn't for a very long time. My husband was going to a lot of events, and now he speaks at a lot of events. And so I used to not go with him. And so he would come home and he would be so excited, and he would have the ether, and he would be like, and this is happening, and so talked, and this is, you know, and I would be like, that's great, but I've been here with 3 kids, and you know, I need you to do, and I would just be like total buzzkill. And I'm like, I can't believe I used to be that way. But now when you both go together, you both kind of get that energy, and you kind of know what he's doing or what she's doing, and you can kind of, you know, talk about it together, and it becomes very personal for both of you, and it becomes kind of a relationship grower, I guess. You kind of get intertwined with it.
Absolutely.
So you guys travel. Do you guys travel separately, or do you always travel together? How does that work?
We've always traveled together. I don't think we've ever traveled separately.
Yeah, because honestly, you know, at Striving Ground, we come as two. So whether, you know, we're going to work with a client somewhere else, or they're coming to us, or we're going to events, it's always together.
Yeah, we even speak together too.
Yeah. And that's been something that's been very, very interesting. So when Devona and I do our talks, we don't really prepare for real. We just jive off of each other. And people are just like, wow, I love your energy. It's like, you know what she's going to say. She knows what you're going to say. And it's just like this really cool dynamic duo.
We get a lot of compliments on how we like bounce off of each other and speak together. And it's so weird, because speaking is a little bit new to us, and we just kind of go for it. And we're kind of testing things out. But that's like a consistent feedback we get. And we're just like, that's interesting. I guess we should keep doing it together and let it go.
I think it's great, and I think that a lot of people, you know, we always look for people to, you know, mirror, or like, oh wow, they're doing something. And I think, you know, what I'm trying to, and I just want people to understand that being family is cool. Like, being in a committed relationship is sexy. Like, it's okay to be in a relationship in the entrepreneur world, because there's so many of like the players, the, you know, hustlers, like, yeah, I'm married, but you know, she's not here. You know what I mean? So you just have to, like, I love seeing couples like embrace that and be all in for it. And, you know, that's kind of, you know, my passion. I'm like, it's sexy to be devoted. Like, be devoted. That's awesome. So I love what you guys are doing, and I love your energy and, you know, how you guys are with each other. You're adorable.
Thank you.
So you guys are new in this, but if you had a couple, and I always like to like wrap it up with this. So if you had a couple that was coming to you and was like, you know, we're thinking about starting a company, you know, we just want some advice. Like, what advice would you give them as a couple starting in an entrepreneur journey?
It's funny you asked that, because I feel like we get asked that question a lot. Like, people are will always be like, "Can I ask you something? Like, how
How's
do
it
you?"
like working with your spouse?
Yeah. And it's so funny because we just laugh and look at each other because it's like, oh my gosh, where do we start?
We
Yeah.
actually did a Facebook Live one day last week.
Yeah, we
But yeah, go
did.
ahead and say what you
But I
think.
think, my main thing is like, I don't think working with your partner is like for everybody. I think you have to be 100% committed to whatever the vision is. Two, you have to be able to communicate and figure out how your working styles are and how to best work with each other. And then three, just being able to actually go all in and do whatever it takes to make the dream come true and not let that like get in the way of your relationship.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Yeah,
That-
vision and communication was going to be my two things. Um, I would say, I think you got it. Yeah, that's
There
it.
you go. Yeah, I think you guys are right on. I mean, there are a lot of people that I interview that are on point, in their business and they have their, their great moments and their great points in their marriage, but you guys are so on point. And I just want to praise you guys for that because there's not a lot of entrepreneurial couples and couples in general in this entrepreneurial like journey that are so on point with that. So I encourage you to keep going where you're going because I think it's beautiful and I think you guys have something that a lot of people can look up to. So keep it up.
Thank you so much.
And thank you guys so much for being on my show. And I know that a lot of people are gonna, want to listen to you and relate to you. And hopefully you will hear from the people that are listening and get some feedback. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
we appreciate
sounds
the
good.
opportunity. Thanks,
Thanks for
Amy.
having us.
Thanks.